Okay, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and we're getting back to the tutorial. And I know you must be wondering what I was actually looking at to create this design. And we're going to take the design from where we stopped. We stopped to the header, and we had a little navigation, and we said we wanted to make that look a little bit interesting, more interesting than what it looks like right now. So we're going to play on what we have. So first of all, I want to show you the sketches that was given to me. They're not to that details, and we're going to make some changes to them. Okay. This was Cognate team report. That's supposed to be the header of the site. So we're going to go back to our design and change that to, okay, we have our Cognate team reports. And and if you look at this, you have a navigation demarcated by a line. We may want to apply that in our site. You have our search, and I don't know what this is. We may end up scrapping this section of the site, but next we need to focus on this area and this area. And since this area here is more important than this area, I'm going to take this section. I'll move the section to the right here, and I'll take this one over to this particular section. That's, I'm just making a switch from right to left, and that's how simple it is. So we're going to make that up in our design. So first of all, I want to make the navigation a little bit more interesting. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hide out my info. Okay, now we can see our sites and what we have here. We have the header. If I hide that out, my header is gone, so I'm going to bring that back in. And what am I looking for? Okay, first of all, I think the texture on this is too much, so I have to drop this a little bit to a point I like. I think 35 is okay. I think 35 is actually good. And another thing is that we had the texture coming down a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed this. Let me control space bar and click. You see this space here? I think it's from the glow. So we're going to fix that. We're going to take the glow, this glow here, back up, and we're going to look for that. If I hide this, no. If I hide this, okay, it's within the logo. So select the logo, unlock, open that up. Where's my glow? This is my glow. Rename that glow. And to rename, just double click on the name besides the layer icon, and it's gonna allow you to name. So use my arrow key up, yeah, and yeah, that's nice. So we're gonna reduce the fill a little bit, also take it down. I just want a mild effect, something calmer, you know, that looks gentle. So I'm gonna zoom out. I know, looks like a badass team report site thing, huh? Okay, now next step, I want to make this navigation a little bit more interesting. So I may end up introducing something that you've not seen before. You might have seen it before. If you've been designing for a while, you might have encountered it before. So before that, I'll select the text for the navigation, which is Vandana. I'll commit my change, and I just want to try something out. So I'll take the color and change it to the color of the spore here. So I'm going to double click on this, and my color box is going to come up. And I'm going to take the eyedropper from this color picker box, and I'll click here to select that color and see the effect. I'll say okay, and I'll zoom out a little bit. It's something nice, but I don't like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change back to my white. See, I just clicked on the color picker again, and I'll take this to white. and here I'll click OK, zoom there. And the next thing we want to do is, okay, we want to hide out any layer we're not using and lock out the layer we've done with. So the layer we're working on now is the navigation. So just hold on for a minute. I'm going to show you something really interesting. Go to my computer, bring in my external hard disks. I'm just hold on for a second. I'll plug this in. Oh, why is it taking so long? So I'm going to open this up, and I have a portable OS. I use Magic, so I'm going to run that. So in my portable app, I have a couple of applications I make use of, and I just want to introduce to one that will be very handy for you as a web designer. So, but let's go back to our design first while it's still loading. So come back to my design, and the text is too big, so I'll take that to about 12 points to see the effect, and I'm not getting anything there, so I'll make sure it's selected and set my type to set the font to 12. And my stem is being a little bit slow. Set to 12. Here, I think that's good. We should try 14. Maybe 14 will be a little bit better. So let's try that out. Set the 14. Click my. Yeah, I think that's good. That's really good. Okay. Oh, this guy is still loading. Whoa, that's not good at all. Okay, while that guy is still loading, let's continue the rest of the design. If we go back to the sketch, yeah, that's the first one. You see they actually use this demarcation. See, they actually use a demarcation here to separate the navigation, and that's what we're going to create in Photoshop. So what you want to do first, you want to select a reasonable color to use your foreground, and I'm going to take that as a light one and activate my line tool. So I'm just going to come here just above this. I'm going to draw a line in between both of them, and I'm going to hold down my shift key to make it a straight line. So we need a very small line because we want to create an illusion of depth. So while I'm still holding down my shift key and my space bar, I'm going to release my mouse, and there you get it. I have the line. And if I click my pick tool, and you see I have that nice one single line. So what you're going to do, you're going to duplicate the line, select it on your layers panel, Ctrl J to duplicate, take that a little bit to the left, and we're going to drag a lighter one above this one, and I'm going to make this one darker. And we might want to try something just a little bit dark. So I might try this guy here. Yes, okay. Now if we zoom in, because when you design view you could see the lines, two different colors. But if we zoom out, you see here it's as if it's somehow indented. That's the effect you wanted to achieve. You want to achieve a kind of indent, so as if the line is or as if the page has been stamped. So I'm going to select this two layer. Make sure your move tool is activated. Select the two layer, Ctrl G to group them together, double click, rename to indent. So what you're going to do, you're going to duplicate this indent, duplicate, and shift tab, take it there. You're going to duplicate the indent again, shift tab, take it there. Okay, you could use this for as much as many of your navigation you want to use it for. It's actually a thing of choice, but the idea there is to create a sense of depth on your navigation. So we decide to change this into something quite reasonable. Okay, okay, this navigation looking a little bit scanty, so I think I may add some stuff to it. So I may just say news. And I'll take this guy, copy to the edge. Control C, come here. Control paste. Rename this one to blog. Control V. Rename that to the team. Let's say the team. So we'll take that back. Okay, back. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in to the design, and I'm just going to make that indent a little bit to look perfect a little bit. So take that middle. Now we're going to duplicate this, drag this to the new layer icon, and shift move. Hold down your shift key to make sure it's moved in a straight line, so you end up moving it like this. So I'm going to position. Oh, I just said. So hold on my shift key, tap my right arrow key. And now that I have that, I'm just going to drag that down again to my new layer icon, and I'll take this here. And now we have a good looking navigation, and we could also make this more interesting if we like to. So since this is an open design class, there's no strictness in design, I may decide to make it more interesting. I'll select this layer here, creating this margin. So I'll decide to give it a little bit of gradient to make it pop out a little bit more like a 3D look. So I'll say gradient overlay, and now you can see the ugly gradient. So we're going to drop the opacity a lot, and something around there. Let's just click before now and see how it looks. So let me zoom, Ctrl plus to zoom on it, and now you see I have this crazy realistic effects, just as if this is differentiated from the top with a border with a tick. Much like as if it's bent or something. So we could also decide to make that more deep. So how can we do that? We select that and we give it a light stroke, a stroke of a lighter color, and that's going to create a depth, a kind of subtle depth, very soft depth. So we're going to select the color like this, and click OK. Now if you look at the section, you're going to see a slight color above the image, so it's giving a realistic effect of being indented. If you think I'm lying, I'm just going to hide out the stroke, and now you see that effect. Nice, isn't it? And I'm going to click out, so you also see the effect at the bottom. So it's giving a sense of separation from the bottom also. So you see this light, that dark line, and the kind of beautiful effect that we're achieving. I decided to take this guy up a little bit, and that disappeared, so I'll take it down a little bit again, and that's okay. So Ctrl minus, zoom out to see what we get, or what we got. Okay, this is good. We decide to make changes as we go, but We can work with this for now. So we're gonna select our navigation and lock it. Lock the key, and I'm going to activate my grid to see what we're working with. And yeah, I think the other is a little bit worked out. So let's talk about the other section of the site now. We have more like a news board or a post board with many blah 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 blah, and it's more like a fun site where Seaconnect team comes and posts news just for fun, and that's the idea. So we're going to replicate this in our design. So we're going to take this. So we're looking at our grid now, and this section I want to create a layer above that. So make sure that layer is selected. And I said earlier on that I was going to switch this over to the right and this over to the left. Before we do that, we're going to make a very subtle calculation. And I said earlier in the class that we have our site, actual site, which spans 950 pixels from right to left. I'll say control semicolon to move that from right to left, and I'm just going to apply I'm going to apply the golden rule or Fibonacci ratio to our design and just test it out. So we're going to see the effect. In our design. So, well, let's get on with the calculation. So I'm going to do this in Microsoft Word. I say total web site width equals 960 pixels. So what I'll using Fibonacci or using golden ratio for web design. Okay, I'll save that. I shouldn't have just cancel out. You're just displaying this for the essence of the tutorial, so you could watch the video and replicate it if you want. Okay, we have the total width of the site to be 960 pixels, but the actual width we're working with is 950. So we'll say that's 950. That's 950 of the. I'm in the habit of saving. I code a lot. Okay, 950 pixels is the actual width or the actual content of the site. And so that's the actual content of the site. That means from this sketch here to this place should be 950 pixels. So we want to do the Fibonacci ratio to get something that looks more realistic and natural to the eyes. So we're going to multiply this by the Fibonacci ratio, and we're going to get this accepted, this width, which is the biggest section of the site. So I know it's a little bit difficult to explain, but as I begin to apply it, you begin to see what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is, I want to say something like natural ratio for the main content will be equals to total width divided by golden ratio, and so on. Yeah, whatever. Okay, divided by golden ratio, and normally the golden ratio is equals to 1.618. Let me pause that out to make sure that I'm actually correct, because sometimes I may also. Okay, it turns out to be correct. So what we're going to do now, acceptable ratio for R. So the natural ratio for the main content will be equals to, say, natural ratio will be equals to 950 divided by 1.618, and that will be equals to, so we're going to bring out our calculator. So 950 divided by 1.618, I'm going to say equals to so we're going to close this guy out. We already have it opened, so we're just going to copy this, Ctrl C, come back to Microsoft Word, Ctrl V. So since we already have ratios here, we're going to delete all this. I'll say pixels, I'll save, oh pardon me, and column 2 to be equals to 950 minus 587, and I'm just going to go back to our calculator. I want to subtract 950, and we're going to end up with 362, which is actually 363 pixels. Okay, the value, this value here, the first value we got, we go back to a sketch. Here is that sketch. We go back to our sketch. It's going to be responsible, it's going to be the width of this section of the site. This section of the site. Then the other width, which is 363, is going to be the width of this section of what? The site. So we're going to go back to our design, and we're going to take out, let me close this out. I think I have too many things open. Okay, we'll take up about 587 pixels. So go back to our design, and we're going to take our square. First of all, we'll turn on our grids, and I'll click here in the middle of ruler because I want to change the 0 point where the 0 point starts in my design. So I'm going to drag this down, and the moment I release, you're going to find that the 0 point is switched over to this point and to this point of my ruler, and that enables me to start my 0 point from here on my Photoshop. So I'm just going to draw from here until I get to that 500, somewhere around 580, and you can see we have 50 here, 55, we have 50, 60, 70, 80, so somewhere in there should be our 587. It doesn't have to be perfect, so you just kind of have to work with what you have. So we're going to draw that down. The color I'm going to give this, I've not yet made a choice, so please just flow with the design, and it's kind of time consuming though. Well, thank you for watching. Okay, now we've created our slide, so I'm going to hide my grid out, and this is the layer we use to create a sketch. Let me change the color to white, if you so please, so we know what we're working with. And now we have our first section of the site, which is that 587, or somewhere close to 587, I'm going to take this down, and I just thought about something crazy, beautifully, just crazy though. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to kill down the opacity. I mean, dial down the opacity a lot. Take down that opacity. Take down that opacity. Okay. Take this down. Okay. I'll take down the fill, not the opacity. So, why am I taking down the fill, not the opacity? Because I'm going to apply a style to this, and I want something to still be retained. So, I'm going to select this and give it a stroke. That's a stroke. And actually, I want the stroke to be on one side. I don't want the other side to have any stroke whatsoever. So I think that's not the way to go. So I'm going to close that out. I'll go to my ruler, my line tool, and I'm just going to click and drag down. By holding down my shift key, I get a straight line. So click, drag down. So I'm going to change this color to something dark. Click OK, select my move tool, and click, yeah, that's what I want. And we are the main body of the site now, so I'll just select this to Ctrl G, and I'll rename it base. And I'll create a new group, and I'll call that, I'll drag that to recycle bin, click on the new group icon, and I'll call that main content. I'm going to drag the base in there, and I'll have my base. And now we have the first section of the site. That means the remaining section of the site is equivalent to the main area. I've not created any division for or any group for. It's equivalent to these 36 pixels, and it's our choice to play around with that as we like, since we're going to be making the design decision. So let's carry on with this design. And we're just going to take a look at our sketch. Okay, I'm just going to drag this down. Pardon me, I know it's a little bit tedious when creating designs though, but sometimes you just have to be a little bit creative. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. So I'm going to turn on our grids, and we're going to work with that a little bit. So we have from here to here, that's about the total section we're taking from the site. So I might want to make another little calculation. So, or I may just go with the flow. For this class, let me just go with the flow. Let me just be a little bit strict with the Fibonacci ratio. So I'm going to take this, bring back my grids, and I want to take about 10 pixels from the right, because in this section here, we want to create the space between, the left side of that main content and the picture. So I'm going to take 10 pixels from the right, and I may do this in a very different way, so please do bear with me. So I already have grids. I may end up using the ruler, so and I'm going to delete this ruler when I'm going to delete this line. Sorry, I'm going to use a line, and I'm going to delete the line when I'm through. So I'm just going to click and drag at that 10 point. You can see we have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is our 10, and when you have 10, you see that parted line above on your 10 points here. So I'm just going to hold down my shift key and drag a straight line down. It does not matter the length of the line, but I want to make the color white, so we always keep seeing that line. And I'm going to hide out my grid. Remove my guide, control semicolon, and control zoom. Okay. We could see that we have 10 pixels, but it's not really looking that great though. And we really want more space. We think we could do with more space. So let's talk about something like 40 pixels. So we're going to go down to our line, demarcation line. I'm going to tap that to 40. Hold on my shift key, move that to 40. That's 50. That's 40. 40 seems to be too much. Take it down to 30. I'll take it down to 30. Yeah, we have our 30. I'll save our design. So one of the reasons the golden ratio is so important is that, especially when you're adding images and text to your site itself, it's very good for you to use the golden ratio. So I'm going to make a little bit calculation on golden ratio. Now we have the main content. We've moved 30 pixels from it. So what we're left with is, go down a little bit, to say main content left, sorry, I'm going to take this down. It's equals to natural ratio. Then we'll subtract the 30 pixel we took from it. So we're going to be left with that main content, which is about 557 pixels. I'm going to save. Why did I keep doing that? Pardon me, I said I was not going to save this document. Okay, now this is the content, this is the area we have left on to work with. And after taking out this, our picture is going to start from here. So let me just use a box to delimit this. So our picture is going to be like this. Hold on, this. Okay, or something like this. So our picture is going to be somewhere here. Then we're going to have our blah 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 content here, and we want that to look nice and good. So just before we do that, we need to make some choices. So since we're left with that, I also want the box to have a padding of like 20 pixels before the pictures and the text. So we're going to subtract 20 pixels from left and right. That's going to be 40 pixels. So we're going to say comment box is equals to, I'm just going to copy this, main content left minus padding of 20 pixels, which is equals to 557 minus 40, because we have in our padding on right and left, so it's actually 40, and that equals to 517 pixels. So we're gonna have 517 pixels for our width, total width of our box. So we're gonna take our 0 point again, drag it somewhere here, so it starts here. So we could see that, and 0, take that to 507. Yeah, something there should do. So the height could be, well, depends on you. So we're not really bothered about the height, because as much as site content grows, the height of the site begins to grow. So I'm just going to apply this, and I'll say I'll rename this to my comment delimiter, I'll say comment box or something. So we're going to give this a meaningful name. Close that out. So click on this comment box. And I may also reduce the opacity of that, take that down a little bit. Or I may decide to play with this. We may change this before our design is finished, but we don't know yet. Select this, we'll give it a stroke. So we'll take this to 1 and drag that down a little bit to like 50, 51. So I'm just going to Ctrl J that comment box. Now Ctrl Z. I'm going to make a selection. Filter contrast by 2 pixels. Select modify contrast. Click OK. Fill that with any color you like. Okay, before you fill with any color, you select the layer and create a layer above it. Fill with any color you like. I fill it that with white. I'll Ctrl D, and yeah, we end up having our comment box. So we're just gonna hide out that line we used to delimit it. And yeah, okay, now we're having an ill proportioned site. I don't really like the space here. So the mistake I made was to make selection for my image before the box. So if I take 40 from this side, so I may just decide to select this. Designers do this a lot. Sometimes I also do this a lot, so I'm going to do it here. Select this, and I'm just going to eyeball it to make sure that both sides are actually equal. So I'll click commit, and you have it. So next I want to create here, I want to create an image. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out what the total size of this our box is. So first of all, I'm going to select this one, select this, select the 2 of them, Ctrl G, and rename it to comment box. And I'm going to click this. Okay, we have our comment box. And I think that white is a little bit too much. So let's see, let's play with the opacity a little bit. So I'll reduce that a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll do. I'll save Ctrl X. And oops, I have low battery, so I'm gonna end the class here. But before I do that, let's find out the width of the comment box. So one good way to find out the width of the comment box, we're gonna use the info panel. So I'll click on the info, and I see the info come up. So I'm gonna take my selection tool. I'm just gonna drag over the box. And it's a good place to apply your Fibonacci ratio again. So I'm dragging over the box. We have our size 517. Ctrl D. Look at the info, the X, you get your 517. So I'm just going to repeat that again. And you see we get a 517 for our white. Ctrl D. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some quick stuff when my battery runs out. So what I'm going to do, we're going to take our 517 and divide by the Fibonacci ratio to get the content of the text. 517 divide by 1 point. Oh, I'm going to pause it out. So I'll continue next class. I'll continue from where I stop. Okay.